Those of you who have been with us for a while have probably seen one, or even got used to our bi-weekly webinars. Well, this vlog is the new webinar, in a more pretty, more condensed, and more better form.
That everyone loves. It's amazing.
Amazing.
So as we look back at the previous year, there are quite a few things that I really liked about it. There were quite a few things that we got really well, like the automation stuff. We improved that over leaps and bounds over the previous implementation that we did. We got down to 1% accuracy and even 0.1% accuracy on some units. And this is compared to the industry standard of about 10% for potentiometers and such things. So that was really cool to do, and kudos to our team for pulling it off. The other thing that we did really well, I think, was the streaming stuff. It's lossless. It works all around the globe. It's really something to be proud of. And as I look at, for example, these two things, I'm seeing lots of quality that we did. Like we decided we're not going to do as much quantity. We're going to focus on quality. So I'd like this year, 2020, to be kind of even more on that theme. So more quality stuff.
Yeah, that kind of leads us to the decision on why we chose to abandon the live webinars, which were, to be honest, pretty fun.
Yeah, extremely.
But they took a lot of our and your time to say stuff and to, tell you the news that would otherwise take much less time.
True.
So we chose to go to recorded vlogs, so we can relay those news to you in a faster way, and we even get to look sharper, and the colors are better, and all that. So the audio is probably the same, but
well, that's us.
Yeah, we're trying to improve on our quality in all the aspects of whatever we do.
That's great.
So this is kind of the reason why we switched to this recorded vlog instead of the live webinar, because apart from looking sharper and more colorful, we'll also take much less of yours and our time to relay the same amount of news from the office and what are our plans for the future. And we'll also still be answering your questions, so please don't stop asking them. We'll be checking our social network all the time and gather the most frequently asked ones every 2 weeks and answer them in the vlog. So please don't stop asking your questions.
So January, as I'm sure all of you know, is winter NAMM time, and everybody who is worth anything in professional audio is there, aside from us. So we didn't make it, unfortunately, this year. We're planning to attend next year. However, a lot of our good friends were there, and you could get in contact with Mixanalog there. So I'll just short shout out to MMP Academy for hosting the live demos of Mixanalog, and to Bettermaker and Giraffe for being so kind as to be a touch point for people who wanted to know more about Mixanalog. Would also like to congratulate both of those for the nomination for the Tech Awards. They didn't get them this year, but I'm rooting for them next year.
Yeah. So on to the news from the office. First one is about the new piece of gear, and it's elysia envelope. It's coming soon-ish. But all in all, it's going really well. So far it's going according to plan. So we just got the metalwork for chassis extensions, because we need longer chassis to fit all the automation in, but we want to keep the beautiful front panels, so that's why we went to so much trouble. But apart from that, the automation electronics are already in assembly. The GUI is almost finished. I think we have to check on some fonts, and
that's
all the rest is finished. And the firmware is going to be written in some weeks when the hardware is close to being done, so I can start testing it on real hardware.
You mean you'll be writing it?
Yeah, I'll be writing it, but I need the hardware to test it out.
Ah, yes.
So yeah, for the elysia envelope, everything is going according to plan, and I hope that you'll be able to test it in a couple of weeks. A month. Probably a month.
Hopefully sooner, though. So that was it for hardware, but we all know that Mixanalog is also quite a lot of software. And there has been a particular component of our software that has given us quite a bit of grief over the past few months or even a year or so. We've got an audio engine that does all of the streaming to the hardware and from the hardware and then eventually to you guys in this lossless audio streaming format. And that has been practically untouched, just some patches here and there for the past 2 years. It served us kind of well, given the things we wanted it to do at the start. But since then, a lot of things have changed, and to get on with the times, we've decided to make a full rewrite. So we started this a few months ago, and it's nearing completion now. It's about 5% or so from being completed, and so that we can start testing it. And it's a 64-bit sample-accurate playback engine with compression and so on. The difference from the current one is with the features that we've added. So we've made it in mind with things like multitrack and looping and playing also local files, not just files that you've uploaded, but also files directly from your disk. So the idea here is that you can add backing tracks to the tracks that you're processing, but not having to upload them. Mind-blowing, isn't it? So just a few weeks, I think, and then we'll be ready to test it internally, and from then on, we can't wait to show you what it's capable of. Mixanalog version 3.
A DAW in the cloud.
Oh my. I'm cringing because it's so hard to do. But yeah, it's amazing.
Okay, and another thing that I've been hard at work at for the past couple of weeks actually is the UI review. So I'm going over practically the whole landing page, the whole app, and the whole live studio app to find out how to make it faster to navigate, how to make it easier to use, more intuitive. I'm looking at all the lines, all the colors, all the pixels, all the fonts and whatnot and whatever, but I'm just trying to make it as clean and as easy to use for you as possible. And I've already scheduled some changes, but they're not going to happen all at once because there's a lot of small stuff to move around. But gradually you can expect mixanalog to look prettier, to be more useful and faster to navigate. User question number 1. Ratio on a Fairchild. You cooks! So, I guess the whole shiz about those comps are those fixed parameters. I see this one has a ratio knob. The Fairchild hasn't. Mixanalog is hidden away as a calibration parameter. Do you know what means varimu? Real varimu tube is the ratio. What are you talking about? This ratio knob is absurd.
Heavy words.
Yeah, this one was a little bit funny, but maybe a tiny bit awkward. But most of all, it can be made educational.
Let's try.
Yeah. So I'll start with this one. The Fairchild 670, as captured by a certain plugin company as a software emulation, doesn't have the ratio knob. I guess a lot of people think that then it simply doesn't exist.
Unfortunately.
But if you look at the original unit, at least, or its service manual, you come upon a little trim potentiometer and instructions for how to set the DC threshold.
Also known as
the ratio.
Yeah.
You just have to look at the plots, and you can see that this trim pot called the DC ratio is actually the ratio knob.
DC threshold. That's called the ratio.
Yeah.
It's a DC ratio.
Did I get it backwards?
No, it's a DC ratio, which also means the ratio knob.
Okay. So DC threshold trim pot is actually a ratio knob.
Great.
Yeah. And since we got to decide what to put on our GUI and what not, we decided that the ratio is just too useful not to put
exactly
on the GUI, because not all mixes need 1:20 ratio. So
I think if it's a very small knob hidden away somewhere below the front panel or something, who's gonna guess that you can actually twist it around? And You know, it's such a useful parameter to have that there's just no reason why you wouldn't want to tweak that one at least once or twice. So, okay, if you want to use it exactly like the plugins do it, then just leave it fixed at 20:1. That's fine. Even the user manual says that's the default, sure. But the user manual also says that if you prefer something else, you should have like no problems going in and adjusting that with a screwdriver. So why they didn't make it a front panel affair in the first place, I don't know. It probably didn't make sense back then for lathe limiting. But right now the Fairchild is used for everything but. Yeah. So anything else we can say about that, really, because it's an interesting topic?
Well, I think we've answered the question.
That's true, though. Yeah.
But I think that there's something about that topic also written in the tutorial blog that we did for the Fairchild a while ago.
Could be.
So you can also refer to that.
Okay. A very common user question number 2. Any free trials? Is there a way for me to try the service before deciding to subscribe? Well, that's a good question. Yes, sir, there is a way for you to have a go with Mixanalog before subscribing. So the way it works is that making an account with Mixanalog is completely free. There's no need for a credit card or to pay anything. You just need to have a functioning email address or a Facebook profile. That's all there's needed. And you will get at sign up 300 MAT or Mixanalog tokens. You can use these tokens any way you like on any gear.
And those MATs are not cryptocurrency.
They are not cryptocurrency.
Just to make sure.
Yeah, it's just a way that we can give you more of them and not give you dollars or euros or something like that, because that would be awkward. We would get in hot water. That's not okay. But we can give you MATs. That's the way it works legally. So that's why we chose that. Anyway, you do get 300 of those right off the bat when you subscribe. When you create an account. And then you can use those on any gear you like. There's also another product over here, one of the compressors that we have, the 1176. That one's actually for free every day. So if you run out of the 300 tokens and you're still not decided if this is something that you want to use in your life, then try the 1176. You know, it's a rainy day, open up Mixanalog, put up some vocals or a bass or a snare and just hit it. Try the all buttons in mode, try the 20:1 compression, try fast release, fast attack stuff, and you know, maybe you'll find something that you like. And it's easy to learn and get to grip with the platform that way, so you can learn all the ins and outs and how to bounce and how to download, how to upload, stuff like that, completely scan free. And then if you like it, please subscribe.
So with that, we conclude our first vlog analog. See you in a couple of weeks in the next one, and meanwhile, make some good music sound great.
Bye guys.
Bye.
Until next time.